Welcome to Eye on Africa. I'm Clarisse Fortuné, and these are the top stories from across the continent. Water scarcity, sanitation gaps, climate stress, and big promises in Addis Ababa. African leaders will gather in Ethiopia for the 39th summit of the African Union. We'll ask our guests if they can move from resolutions to real change on the ground. After 15 years of closure, Kenya is set to reopen parts of its border with Somalia. We'll learn what it means for security, trade, and for families separated for more than a decade. And with Valentine's Day approaching, love is going digital in northern Nigeria. In Kano, professional matchmakers are blending tradition with artificial intelligence to help singles find the perfect partner, proving romance can be both high-tech and deeply rooted in custom. African leaders will gather this weekend in Addis Ababa for the 39th summit of the African Union. This year's official theme focuses on access to water and sanitation systems, but as several conflicts continue to shake the continent, security has already emerged as the top priority in the discussions. Our correspondent Tom Kennedy is in Addis Ababa.
It's the eve of the 39th summit of the African Union here in Addis Ababa. So what can we expect from this weekend? The official theme is centered around water and sanitation, but it's become clear that security is going to become the most pressing issue this weekend. On Thursday, the ministers of foreign affairs gathered and published a communique on Sudan. They condemned the ongoing conflict between the Sudanese armed forces and the rapid support forces, and they called on the African Union's Commission to facilitate an inter-Sudanese dialogue. We also heard from the Sudanese armed forces this week in Addis. The Minister of Foreign Affairs called for the suspension of his country from the African Union to be lifted. The crisis in the eastern DRC will also be a major discussion point. Despite the Washington Accord signed between Paul Kagame and Felix Tshisekedi in December, conflict between the M23 rebels and the armed forces of the DRC has not yet stopped. Officials from the DRC have called this week for an inter-Congolese dialogue that they want to go ahead in, they want to take place rather, in Kinshasa. Israel's recognition of the semi-autonomous region Somaliland will also be a discussion point. The African Union has undertaken a stabilization mission in Somalia since 2007, and some countries in the region, including Eritrea and Egypt, have seen this recognition as an attempt to destabilize Somalia. Finally, President of South Africa, Cyril Ramaphosa, will address the African Union after Donald Trump has essentially tried to kick South Africa out of the G20, and he will speak about the role of Africa on the world diplomatic stage.
And the 2026 theme of this summit, assuring sustainable water availability and safe sanitation systems to achieve the goals of Agenda 2063. One of those goals is universal access to water and sanitation. So what concrete progress can be expected? We are joined now by Ibrahim Musa, Head of Strategy, Policy and Campaigns for WaterAid Ghana. Welcome, Mr. Musa. So water being at the center of this AU summit. So do you take it as a genuine turning point or something we've heard before?
Thank you, Madam, and thank you, France 24, for this opportunity. Indeed, you've asked the right question. And the answer is that so long as we have hope, we can always hope for better future. So one more time, we'll give our leaders the opportunity to turn the political commitment into action for the people of Africa, because indeed, African people need decent water, improved sanitation and hygiene for economic development.
So how should the African governments finance water and sanitation with all their competing national priorities?
Indeed, it's a very important question. And for WaterAid, one of the recommendations we have been making to African leaders is to consider water as the transformational sector that can catalyze the remaining 16 Sustainable Development Goals. And Goal 6 is dedicated to safe water and sanitation. If investment is channeled into sanitation and water, then you can be sure that Goal 1, which is ending poverty, and the other goal, which is about ensuring food security, quality education, and gender, will all be achieved. But without safe water, we cannot have any of the SDGs achieved. And one of the recommendations to turning financing into reality, we recommend that governments across Africa should turn to domestic resource mobilization. And one key area of ensuring domestic resource mobilization is to ensure that taxes are collected and channeled efficiently and be accountable to its usage. Then that can then make it possible for domestic resources to be efficiently used. And the other important thing is private financing. African governments need to ensure that legislative framework and policies are adequate to attract private sector investment. Gone were the days when you could legislate or you could then take over any private investor. These days, when you don't provide the enabling environment in terms of policy strategies, private investment cannot be attracted. So we advise that in terms of attracting private financing, which is a very important area for African government because they can get public-private partnership to turn the tide on water sanitation and hygiene in their countries.
And let's talk on concrete terms. Many African countries are facing worsening droughts and floods linked to climate change. So how is climate disruption affecting water access and sanitation systems?
Very, very important question, because as we speak now, rising temperatures are affecting groundwater resources. And so even in our country, Ghana, you find many areas that easily could have water throughout. Now, within 3 months into the dry season, the areas are dried up, and which affects also the utility companies to be able to supply water all year round. So what that means is that African governments will have to invest in climate resilient water and sanitation infrastructure. Climate resilient water and sanitation infrastructure will mean that it can withstand floods, it can withstand droughts, and it can also be able to provide water, sanitation, and hygiene to vulnerable populations like women, children, and the aged. And like you also mentioned, peace is very crucial. And if you look at countries like Somalia, excuse me, to make that example, in the era of conflict, water and sanitation is very important for women and children to be able to survive. So even as the African Union Summit will also focus on peace and security, water and sanitation is central, first to household peace, but second, to ensure that community and country peace is promoted at the end. So climate resilience is very important, which also means that African government will then have to also realign their institutions, ministries, departments, and agencies to ensure that gender-responsive climate resilient water sanitation is given the needed attention so that we can be able to weather the storm as far as climate change is concerned. But most importantly, ensuring that financing drive all policies. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ibrahim Musa, Head of Strategy, Policy and Campaigns for Water Aid in Ghana. Kenyan President William Ruto has announced that Kenya will reopen its border with Somalia, ending 15 years of closure. From April, 2 key crossings will resume operations, restoring movement between communities long divided despite deep cultural and family ties. The decision marks a significant shift in regional relations and security policy. Reporting from Nairobi, Bastien Renouille.
The reopening of the border has two main objectives. First, business. Both Kenya and Somalia are part of the East African community, and according to Kenya's President William Ruto, no border should be closed between members of the EAC in order to boost trade between the countries. And then, for family reasons, many families are living on both sides of the border. It will be way easier for them to meet. But so, why was the border closed till now? For security reasons. The terrorist Islamist group Al-Shabaab is still controlling a huge part of Somalia. They are linked to Al-Qaeda and they are frequently targeting Kenya, mostly next to the border and sometimes deeper in the country, like in 2015 when they attacked the University of Garissa, killing 148 people, or in 2013 when they attacked the Westgate Mall here in Nairobi, killing 67 people. So, according to Kenya's President William Ruto, the reopening of the border will not increase the insecurity in the country. He says that security forces will be deployed at the border to make sure that no weapon or no terrorist can cross the border easily. And he also called on the residents of Mandera County, which is neighboring Somalia, to cooperate with the security forces, which means that they should give any information about a future terrorist attack to the security forces.
Now, with Valentine's Day just around the corner, love is getting a high-tech makeover in northern Nigeria. In the city of Kano, professional matchmakers are mixing age-old tradition with AI to help hopeful singles find the one, all while respecting local customs. Swiping right, well, that's all news. In Kano, romance is getting a carefully curated upgrade. And our romantic Clémence Valère tells the story.
To find your soulmate, there's nothing better than seeking the services of an experienced matchmaker. That's what Anwar Abdul Malik believes. He made an appointment with this renowned matchmaker in the Nigerian city of Kano. In her 25 years of experience, only 11 couples she has matched have divorced.
This one is okay? Okay.
This one is good.
Okay.
This one.
I haven't had a girlfriend for some time, and now I've decided that I want to be connected with the woman of my dreams. Yeah, I know I will find her. I tried searching on my own, but I wasn't successful.
I have over 100 women who fit his criteria. If he's interested in any of them, I will arrange for them to be introduced.
In northern Nigeria, finding the man or woman of your dreams with the help of matchmakers has been a tradition for generations. But with the advent of the digital age, dating sites have proliferated. These platforms now use artificial intelligence to help their subscribers make the right choice.
Now we are using modern or technological tools to carry out matchmaking. We use ChatGPT to modify the faces of our client in order to maintain their privacy.
Marriage nowadays is based on connections. For this service, my picture is sent to someone who is looking for a wife, and he may develop feelings for me. That is the only way, since he has not had the opportunity to meet me in person.
Across Nigeria, great importance is placed on family background, reputation, and morality before marriage. Criteria that are difficult to verify on online dating platforms.
And who said that romance was dead? These conclude our edition of Eye on Africa. Thank you for watching.